Let's talk about something so many of us have been through. That frustrating, exhausting cycle of attracting people who are just emotionally unavailable. If you feel like you're stuck on a hamster wheel with this, then this is for you.
You know the feeling, right? That sense that you're doing all the work, trying to figure out what they're thinking, trying to decode every single text. They're there 1 minute, and then they're just gone. So, here's the first big mindset shift we need to make. This isn't just bad luck. You're not cursed. What you're experiencing is a pattern. And you know the great thing about patterns? Once you see them, you can absolutely break them.
But that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why does it keep happening, even with different people? Okay, let's really get into it and figure out what's going on underneath the surface.
So the pattern usually starts with what I like to call the alluring disguise. See, the hardest part is that these people almost never seem unavailable at the beginning. In fact, it's usually the total opposite.
I mean, at first, they seem amazing. They're exciting, they're charming, there's this incredible intensity. They have this way of making you feel like you're the most fascinating person in the world, but it's always just for a little while.
And there it is. That's the signature move, the push and the pull. You get these incredible bursts of connection, these moments where you feel so seen, and then, poof, they pull away. That inconsistency is what makes it all so confusing.
So why on earth is that so magnetic? It makes no logical sense. Well, we're about to get to the real heart of it, and it has everything to do with how our brains can trick us into thinking that anxiety is actually chemistry.
This is such a huge piece of the puzzle. We think attraction is all about conscious choice. I like that person. But so much of it is happening subconsciously. Our nervous system is always looking for what feels familiar.
And this is the scientific term for it, familiarity bias. Put simply, if you grew up in a situation where love or attention felt unpredictable, where you had to work for it, then that feeling of uncertainty can actually feel like home, even if it's not healthy. Your body recognizes the feeling, even if your mind knows it's a red flag.
And this is the bottom line. That feeling, you know, the butterflies, the constantly checking your phone, the dizzying high when they finally text you back, we call that chemistry. But a lot of the time, it's just anxiety. It's the anxiety of an uncertain attachment.
And here's the wild paradox in all of this. When someone comes along who is consistent, clear, and actually available, they don't trigger that same anxiety. And so your brain, which is wired for chaos, might interpret that calm as boring. It thinks there's no spark, simply because peace feels so unfamiliar.
So we know why it can feel so attractive. But how does this dynamic, this great imbalance, actually form and take hold in a relationship? Well, it really comes down to the roles that each person starts to play.
This comparison really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the overgiver, the person who's working overtime, listening, adjusting, trying harder and harder to keep the connection alive. And on the other side, someone who gives just enough to keep you hooked, someone who actually benefits from all that confusion.
You know, because those good moments are so intense, you really think you're building something deep and meaningful. But what's actually happening is you're creating an imbalance from day one. You're offering a level of closeness and effort that just hasn't been earned yet.
All right, so enough about the problem. How do we actually fix this? This is where it gets good. This is the shift from confusion to empowerment.
This is step one, and it is the most powerful move you can make. You have to stop spending all your energy trying to figure them out. Think about it. Emotionally available people don't make you guess. The second you stop being a detective, the entire power dynamic flips.
So what does this look like in the real world? It's basically these three things. First, you stop overinvesting your time and energy. Second, you start to value consistency more than those intense, anxious highs we call chemistry. And third, you start treating access to you as something valuable, something that has to be earned. And I really need to make this clear. This is not about building walls around your heart or becoming cold and cynical. Not at all. It's about building a gate with a lock. It's about becoming selective and wise about who you let in.
And when you start to do this, something truly amazing happens. It doesn't feel like loss, like you might expect. It feels like something so much better.
Just let that one sink in. Read it again. The pattern only breaks when you decide that your own sanity, your own peace, is way more important than keeping them around. It's when you stop twisting yourself into a pretzel to meet their inconsistent needs. This is what it looks like when you're operating from a place of self-worth. Your life is already full and amazing on its own. You're not looking for someone to complete you. And you know what? When you're in that state,
You become a really bad match for people who feed on chaos. They just kind of fade away. And this is maybe the biggest truth of all. Healthy boundaries don't push the right people away, they're a magnet for them. A secure, available person sees your boundaries and respects them. They see them as a sign of self-respect, not a rejection of them.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. What if letting go of that chase, of that anxiety you've been calling chemistry, what if it's not a heartbreak at all? What if it's actually the beginning of real, true peace? And maybe the best relationship you've ever had, the one with yourself.